Everyone, welcome back to Govt Drish, where you find detailed information regarding all the topics related to competitive exams, be it UPSC, BPSC, NET, or SSC, as well other such exams. And here we have started the Lucent series, where we have already covered 8 parts, and today is the ninth part, where we'll be knowing about the Gupta period's administration, society, economy, reforms, and many such. So stay tuned and watch our video till the end to grasp all such important information and make your own notes, and also get yourself ready your own set of questions which will help you to answer all of them. So today let's get started with the administration that was prevalent in the Gupta period. During the Gupta reign, there was no centralized control as it was under the Mauryas. It was quite different under the Guptas, and it was highly decentralized, and there was patrimonial bureaucracy which has already reached its logical conclusion, and there was also hereditary grants which also continued in this time. There was even a quasi federal structure of the economy. There was also a network of self-governing tribes. There were a number of tribes which was present at that time, and which led to the tributary kingdoms, and the chiefs were the ones who represented themselves as the imperial powers. Then the Gupta king also got themselves many titles which were like Maharaja, Dhiraja, then was Mahadhiraja, Samrat, Ekadhiraja, then we had Chakravartin, and these were the ones that helped them in befitting their large empire and their imperial status. And the practice that was known as the Kumara, that was the appointing of the crown prince, which already came in vogue. Then there was a council of ministers who assisted the Gupta kings, and they were known as Mahatri Parishad or Mahatri Mandalam. And now this council was also found in the Allahabad pillar inscription or the Prayaga Prashasti, and it also speaks that of the members or the sabhas at the selection of the Samudragupta for the throne. Now there are high officers. We also can take a special note of the Komartya and the Sandhi Virarika, who were not known to inscriptions of other peers, but they were some of the high officers which existed at that time. Now, these Kumaratyas, they formed the chief cadre for recruiting high officials for under the Guptas. Then we had Mantri, Senapati, Mahananda Nayaka, who was also known as the Minister of Justice. Mark this. Then we also have Santi Vrahika, which was Minister of Peace and War. Then this was the office of Santi Vigarika, which used to first appeared under Samudragupta, and then Harisena held this title. These are the other important officials. Mark them as in the brackets also their actual ruling, yeah, or their actual positions are also given, so make a note of that. Then these are the administrative units and their head. Go through all of that. That is district, province, that is Bhukti, Vishaya, Vitika, Nagar city, Gram, that is village, and their heads, that is Uparika, Vishayapati, Nagarpati, and Gramika. Then we have the important Bhuktis that existed during this time period, where the other name of Bhukti is the provinces that existed at that time, and those are Magadha, then we have Budhaman, then Pundravardhana, then is Tir Bhukti, that is northern Bihar, present in northern Bihar, then we have Eastern Malwa, Western Malwa, and Saurashtra. Now this is about the administration that was in the head of a council whose other name was Pora, and what it consisted, that is the main thing. It consisted of the city corporation, then the chief representative of the guild of merchants, that was the group of the merchants. Then we also have a representative of the artisans and the chief accountant as well. Now, whereas on the other hand, Mauryas, the city committee that existed at that time, it was appointed by the modern government, but under the Guptas it was comprised of the local people represented that. So this is a major difference between the Guptas and the Mauryas. Now, this decentralization that of the administrative authority, it first began during the Gupta period, and it was during this Gupta's rule that village headman became more important. Earlier times, the administration was done by the kings, so the village headman did not get that sort of priority. But during the Guptas, they became more important, and the Gupta military organization also feudal by character. For the first time, civil and criminal law were defined and demarcated, also depended primarily on land revenue. Army was also fed by the people whenever it passed through the countryside, and this was called the Sena Bhakta. When army men used to be fed, it's called Sena Bhakta. Now the villages were also forced for labor, that is Vishti, for serving the royal army and the officials. Now they also experienced an excess of land grants, that's Aghara grants or Devara grants. Now this grants included the transfer of royal rights from over the salt and mines which existed at that time under the royal monopoly. So this was about the administration which existed at that time. Now let's know about the society. There was an existence of the Varna system, and there were three factors why it was existed: because there was a large number of foreigners that had been assimilated into the Indian society, and they were known as Kshatriyas. Now there was also a large absorption of tribal people into Brahminical society through land grants, like through the granting of land they used to enter the Brahminical society. Now the acculturated tribes were absorbed into the Shudra Varna. Then there were craftsmen who often transformed into caste as a result of the decline of trade and urban centers, and there was also lack of localized crafts. Now, what was the social position of the Shudras? It seems to have improved in this period, and they were also permitted to listen to the epics and the Puranas and also worship a new god called Krishna. Now, what happened during the 3rd century BC is that, I'm sorry, the 3rd century, that is, yes, the correct one. The practice of untouchability, that it intensified during that period, and the numbers also increased. Katayana, that was a Smriti writer of the Gupta period, he was the first one to use this expression, that is asprasya, that is to denote the untouchables. Position of the woman also deteriorated, then polygamy was common, early marriages were advocated, pre-puberty marriages also took place. Then there was the first example of sati. It was held during the Gupta period only, and it was in 510 AD in Iran, that is in Madhya Pradesh. And this is the source. Women were also denied right to property except for Sridhana, that is in the form of jewelry and garments. Then under the patronage of Gupta ruler, Vaishnavism also became very popular. And how these gods were activated? They were activated through unions with respective consorts. And Lakshmi also got her association with Vishnu and Parvati. This was the we can see the social reform in the terms of religious belief that took place, and it was also the evaluation of the Vajranayanism and Buddhist tantric cults. Idol worship also became a common feature from in this period. Now let's know about the economy that was prevalent during this time. Now, it is argued by many scholars that the state was the exclusive owner of land. There was plenty of surplus land, and you can say that if the source or something in favor of this we have is the Paharpur copper plate inscription that was of Buddhargupta. There it has been mentioned. Now, from the economic standpoint, we can classify land under the 5 groups under this Gupta period. That is Kshetra Bhumi, cultivable land; Kheda, that is wasteland; Vastu Bhumi is habitable land. Then we have Charaga, that is Bhumi, pasture land. Then we have Aprahata, that is Bhumi, forest land. Okay. Now, land survey is evident from the Puna plates of Parvati Gupta. Then we have many other descriptions as well. Then we have an officer named uh, Mustapala who maintained records of all the land transactions of that district. Then they also issued a large number of gold coins in ancient India, but they were not as pure as the Kushana's gold coins. Then we also issued a large number of silver coins. Copper coins were very few as those compared to the Kushanas. They witnessed the decline in long distance trade. Trade with the Roman Empire declined after 3rd century AD. Then Indian merchants also began to rely heavily on the Southeast Asian trade. Now these were the ports of the East Coast. Let's look into that. Now let's know about the uh, culture. Three categories, that is rock. This was architecture, that is rock cut caves, Ajanta and Ellora, that is Maharashtra and Bagh MP. Then we have structural temples, that is the Dasara temple of Devghar, then oldest and base is Shiva temple of Umbra, then Vishnu and Kankali temple, then this Parvati temple. These are all the important temples, and this is the stupas, that is Mirpur Khas and Damlik and Ratnagiri. So remember all the names and the locations where they are now found. Now, the art of architecture gained great heights now by devoting the Nagara style, that is Shikhar style. The Gupta ushers the history of Indian architecture. Sikhara shrine is a Vaishnava symbol and it was one of the most characteristic features of temple architecture. And this was Garbhagriha, in which the image of the god was placed. Now, the fragmentary remains of the Dasavatara temple of Deoghar is the example of the most ornate and beautifully composed Gupta temple building. And then we have centers of the Gandhar sculptures as well, which declined, and their places were taken by the Benares, Patliputra, and Mathura. For the first time, there was images of Vishnu, Shiva, and other gods, which were found during the Gupta period. Then, among the best specimen of the images of Buddha is a seated Buddha that was in Sarnath, which depicted Buddha, how he used to preach the Dhamma. Then we have also one of the Brahmanical images that was of the great boar or Vara that was carved in the entrance of a gate, or we can say of a cave in Udayagiri. Then we have also found the painting of this period in Bagh, that was Thar district of MP. Then we have Ajanta, that was in the Aurangabad district of Maharashtra. And then Ajanta caves you already know are the pieces of the masterpieces of the painting of this age. So this was about the culture. Now let's know about the religious literature. This were the Hindu texts. This were the Buddhist texts. You have to know about these meanings, and Jain text, it may come in the form of MCQs as well as match the followings. Now this is scientific literature. So these are some of the notes. Like Kalidasa was known as Shakespeare of India. Manusmriti was translated in English under the title of Institutes of Hindu Law by William Jones. Then we have Abhigyana Sakuntalam, which was also translated in English by William Jones. Then we have this Richard Gita, that was a story of a poor Brahman. Kam Sutra is the earliest book. Then we have Brahma Siddhanta. Okay. So here has been a para where it says that was the golden age of ancient India, that is Gupta period, a reality or a myth? So for arguments, we have one for and one we have against. So for we have that there were political units. Foreign rule was also completely removed and peace and prosperity prevailed. Then we have character of government, that taxes were light, punishment mild. Then we also have revival of Hinduism, and there was also tolerance of all other religions. Then we have use of Sanskrit, developed art and literature that flourished during this period. Then we have great personalities like Kalidasa, Amar Sinha that lived during this period. So this was for. Now we have against that there was existence of too many feudatories. There was absence of large central army and bureaucracy. There was development of feudal elements, that was increasing land grants, serfdom, feudation. Then we have decline of trade, guilds, decline of urban centers, increasing Varna distribution, social order, and of course decline in status of women, which we saw in the society, reforms which took place. So this was the regarding the administration, society, culture, religious, and if it is a myth or just a reality, everything has been given to you point by point, and the things which are highlighted, look into that, make notes out of it, frame your questions and answer on yourself. If you have any doubt or any such questions, you can comment down and we'll help you soon. So keep watching us and stay tuned for our next part, which will be on the post Gupta and pre and the revival of the another period after the Gupta's age. So stay tuned. We'll see you in our next video.